Chosen one, stop for a moment. Do not rush past this. Do not treat this like background noise. If you are here right now, listening to these words, it is not accidental, not random, not coincidence. Something aligned for this moment. There are thousands of messages you could have heard today, thousands of voices competing for your attention, yet this one reached you, and that matters more than you realize. You didn't come here because you were curious. You came here because something inside you has been restless, a quiet tension you haven't been able to explain, a sense that something is changing even if you couldn't name what. That feeling is not confusion, it is awareness waking up, and awareness always arrives before transformation. Listen carefully now. You have been moving through life carrying more weight than others can see, smiling when you were tired, staying strong when you wanted to rest, holding it together when everything inside you was asking for relief. And you wondered, why does it feel harder for me? Why does my path feel heavier? Why do I feel different even when I try not to be? This is the truth no one told you. The road feels heavier for you because you were built to carry more. Not more pain, more responsibility, more awareness, more impact. That's why ordinary answers never satisfied you. That's why surface-level success felt empty. That's why distractions stopped working. You weren't failing at life. Life was preparing you for a deeper role. There is a reason your spirit never fully settled into comfort, a reason ease never held you for long, a reason the familiar started feeling tight. You were not meant to stay where you began. Now hear this clearly. Some of what you were taught about yourself was incomplete. Some of the limits placed on you were never yours to carry. Some of the fear you learned was inherited, not earned. And now correction has arrived. Not as punishment, not as loss, but as alignment. That pressure you feel right now, that subtle urgency, that inner nudge that won't let you stay asleep, that is not anxiety. That is calling. Calling never whispers forever. At some point, it demands attention. You may feel resistance as you listen. Your mind may want to scroll, doubt, or minimize this moment. That resistance is important. It means something real is touching you. Transformation always unsettles the old identity because the old identity knows its time is ending. You are standing at a threshold, not metaphorically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. The version of you that survived and the version of you that leads cannot occupy the same space for much longer, and that's why everything feels intensified. Time feels tighter, patience feels thinner, distractions feel louder, because the season of drifting is ending. Now let's talk about your past. You replay moments in your mind, decisions you wish you had made differently, times you trusted the wrong people, paths that didn't turn out how you imagined. You labeled them mistakes, but they were not mistakes. They were training grounds. Every disappointment sharpened discernment. Every loss stripped illusion. Every delay built endurance. You were being shaped quietly while others were being celebrated loudly. And that silence you endured, that invisibility, it was not neglect. It was preparation without distraction. You learned how to stand without applause, how to keep going without validation, how to listen inwardly instead of outwardly. That is rare strength. And now the season is shifting. What once drained you will begin to release you. What once confused you will begin to clarify. What once felt blocked will start responding to movement. But there is a condition. You cannot carry the old patterns into the new alignment. What comforted you before may not come with you now. What felt safe may no longer fit. What you tolerated will start to irritate your spirit. This is not loss. This is refinement. Like fire removing what weakens metal, life is removing what limits you. You may notice relationships changing, priorities rearranging, interests dissolving. Do not panic. Nothing essential is leaving, only what cannot support where you're going. You are not losing yourself. You are meeting yourself. The version that doesn't shrink, the version that doesn't wait for permission, the version that moves when clarity arrives. And clarity is arriving now. Slowly, then suddenly. You will start seeing patterns others miss. You will feel guidance before logic explains it. You will sense when to move and when not to. This is discernment activating, and with it comes responsibility. Because once you see clearly, you cannot pretend you don't. This moment is asking something of you. Not perfection, not certainty, but movement. Even the smallest step forward signals alignment. Staying frozen now has a cost. Waiting for a perfect time has a cost. Ignoring what you already know has a cost. You have reflected enough. You have endured enough. You have prepared enough. The question is no longer, are you ready? The question is, will you respond? Take a breath. Feel where you are right now. This pause matters because what comes next will challenge you and elevate you. And once you hear it, there is no returning to who you were before. Now listen carefully. What you are experiencing is not confusion, it is recalibration. When something powerful is being aligned, it doesn't arrive gently, it rearranges, it disrupts. It removes what no longer belongs. That's why your old ways stopped working. That's why motivation alone wasn't enough anymore. That's why you felt pulled away from things you once enjoyed. Your inner structure is changing. And when the inner structure changes, the outer world must respond. You may have noticed this already. People misunderstand you more than before. Certain conversations feel shallow. Certain environments drain you faster. Certain goals no longer excite you. This is not arrogance. This is not isolation. This is discernment sharpening. You are beginning to sense alignment instead of chasing approval. And that is a turning point few people reach. Because most people stay where they are celebrated. You were designed to go where you are needed. Now hear this truth. The pressure you feel is not pushing you backward, it is pressing you into shape. Like a seed underground, everything feels dark before it breaks open. But the breaking is not failure, it is emergence. You are being asked to release identities that kept you small, not because they were wrong, but because they are finished. You outgrew them. And growth always feels like loss before it feels like freedom. This is where many people turn back. They mistake discomfort for danger. They mistake uncertainty for error. But you stayed. That already says something about you. Now let's speak plainly. You have been carrying responsibility without recognition. You have been holding vision without support. You have been faithful in seasons that gave nothing back, and still you remained. That is not coincidence. That is capacity. You were being trusted with endurance before authority, integrity before influence, depth before visibility. Because what is coming next cannot rest on shallow foundations. You will not be rushed into this, but you will not be delayed either. Timing is tightening now. Moments will come quickly. Opportunities will appear suddenly. Decisions will carry more weight. You won't have time to overthink everything. That's why intuition is being strengthened now. That's why awareness is rising now. That's why you are being asked to stay present. Distraction dulls perception. Noise blurs direction. Stillness sharpens everything. You don't need more information. You need clarity. And clarity comes when you listen inwardly, not outwardly. Pay attention to what repeatedly returns to your mind. Pay attention to what no longer feels optional. Pay attention to what keeps calling you forward even when fear speaks. Fear does not mean stop. Fear means something meaningful is near. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is movement with fear. And movement is what unlocks the next phase. You are not being asked to leap blindly. You are being asked to take the step that has already been shown to you. You know what it is. The conversation you've been avoiding, the habit that needs to end, the direction you've been delaying, the version of yourself you've been postponing. Alignment is not dramatic, it is decisive. And once you choose it, life responds. Things begin to move that were stagnant. Help appears where there was silence. Strength rises where exhaustion lived. Not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because resistance ends. Now let me ground this. This is not about status, not about superiority, not about escaping the world. This is about responsibility. You are being prepared to stand steady in a shifting world, to carry clarity when others panic, to move with purpose when others freeze. Your presence alone will calm situations. Your decisions will affect more than just you. Your alignment will ripple outward. That is why preparation was intense. That is why shortcuts were denied. That is why comfort was temporary. Nothing was wasted. Now the invitation is simple but not easy. Release what you already know is misaligned. Stop negotiating with fear. Stop postponing obedience to your own inner truth. You do not need to become someone else. You need to stand as who you already are. The strength is already there. The wisdom is already there. The timing is already unfolding. Take a breath. Let this settle. This is not the end of your becoming, it is the beginning of your movement. And when you move, the path opens. What you are sensing right now is not imagination, it is recognition. Something inside you knows this moment matters. Not because of these words alone, but because they are echoing what has already been stirring within you. You didn't need someone to tell you that change was coming. You felt it before you heard it. The shift began quietly. First, dissatisfaction, then questioning, then detachment from what once felt essential, and now clarity. This is how awakening moves, not as an explosion, but as alignment clicking into place. You are beginning to see your life differently, not as a series of random events, but as a pattern. Every delay taught patience, every loss refined discernment, every lonely stretch built strength that applause never could. You were not overlooked, you were shielded, because what is unfolding next requires a steady core. Now understand this clearly. You were not brought here to be comforted, you were brought here to be activated. Comfort maintains the familiar, activation initiates movement, and movement is the language of faith. You don't need to know every step ahead, you only need to honor the one in front of you. The moment you stop negotiating with what you already know, momentum begins. The moment you stop waiting for external permission, authority settles in. The moment you ask, "Am I ready?" and start asking, "Am I willing?" everything changes. Because readiness is built through movement, not before it. You have already been equipped. Discernment earned through mistakes, endurance forged through pressure, wisdom shaped through reflection,
compassion born from pain you survived. These are not abstract traits, they are tools, and tools are meant to be used. Now, look honestly at your life. What feels heavy but familiar? What feels safe but restrictive? What feels comfortable but misaligned? Those are not enemies, they were shelters. But shelters are not destinations. There comes a time when staying protected becomes staying confined. That time is now. What breaks in this season was never meant to come with you. What falls away was already outgrown. What dissolves is making space. Do not cling to what is leaving. Honor it, then release it. Because what replaces it will require room. You may feel fear rising as certainty fades. That is normal. Fear always appears when the old map stops working. But listen carefully. You were not walking without guidance. You were walking without illusion. And that is strength. Pay attention in the coming days. Signals will arrive quickly. Opportunities may come disguised as inconvenience. Tests may appear before confirmation. Do not rush. Do not retreat. Stay present. Your intuition is sharper now. Your awareness is clearer now. Your capacity is greater than you think. When something feels aligned, move. When something feels heavy, pause. When something feels forced, release. Alignment has a signature. You will recognize it. And when you stand in it, things that once resisted you will respond. Not because you are controlling life, but because you are cooperating with it. This is not about becoming extraordinary. It is about becoming true. True to your values, true to your direction, true to the calling that has followed you quietly for years. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to stand steady. Not loud, not performative, but clear. And clarity influences more than noise ever could. Now take this moment seriously, but not heavily. You are not behind. You are not lacking. You are not broken. You are positioned. Everything has been preparing you for this crossing. So here is the question that remains, and it belongs only to you. What is the one thing you know you can no longer delay? Not tomorrow, not someday, now. Let that answer rise without judgment. That is your next step. And when you take it, the path will meet you. This is not the end of your story. This is the point where you begin walking it intentionally. Stay alert, stay aligned, stay willing. You are not here by accident. And now, you move.
If you are still here, that already tells me something about you. Not everyone stays. Not everyone listens all the way through. And that matters. This message was not meant to rush you. It was meant to find you. What you do after this moment is more important than what you felt during it. Awareness is the doorway. Action is the crossing. If this message resonated with you, if something inside you recognized itself while listening, pause for a moment and respond intentionally. Like this video, not for the algorithm, but as a signal that you are choosing alignment over distraction. Subscribe to this channel if you feel called to stay connected. These messages are not random, and what's coming next will build on what you've just received. In the comments, write 777 if you are ready to move forward without delay, or 999 if you know a cycle has ended and a new one is beginning. You don't need to explain, those numbers are enough. If you feel led, share where you're watching from, not for visibility, but to remind yourself that you are part of something wider than your own story. And before you leave, sit quietly for a moment and ask yourself this: what is the one thing you now know you can no longer postpone? Let that answer guide your next step. Stay alert, stay aligned, and remember, you were never meant to walk this season unaware. I'll see you in the next message.